March 24th, 2015. Let's start off the continuation of the Little House on the Prairie, courtesy of Bard Library. That's Bard. That's right, yeah, for now. To check out this favorite book of mine, you can visit your local bookstore in town where you live, especially those in London. Or go to the nearest library to help educate the further minds of yours. You can even ask your parents to purchase this on BarnesandNobles.com. You can keep that author employed. It would greatly help them out. It's based on the show Laura Ingalls Wilder, illustrated by Garth Williams. The show Little House on the Prairie. God bless Michael Landon and all them years that I used to watch as a kid growing up. Carrying on, living here next to the General Pat Museum. That's right. See that? If you mail a postcard like one of these to your family, it helps proceeds go to this nice museum. Yeah, for now. Amazing place that don't cost much money to visit. Other than Town Square Mall, the zoo, and everybody else. Keeping Elizabethtown going too, especially downtown at the historic theater. That's right. Carrying on, where I left off, then they would all have been lost. The river had rolled them over and over and carried them away and drowned them. And nobody would ever known what became of them. 4 weeks, perhaps, no other person would come along the road. Well, said Pa, all's well that ends well. And Ma said, well, Charles, you're wet to the skin. Before Pa could answer, Laura cried, oh, where's Jack? They questioned. They had forgotten Jack. They had left him on the other side of that dreadful water. Now they could see him anywhere. Carrying on. Oh, now they could see him anywhere. He must have tried to swim after them, but they could not see him struggling in the water now. Laura swallowed hard to keep from crying. She knew it was shameful to cry, but there was crying inside her all along the way. From Wisconsin, poor Jack had followed them so patiently and faithfully, and now they had left him to drown. He was so tired, and they might have taken him into the wagon. He had stood on the bank and seen the wagon going away from him, as if they didn't care for him. And at all, he could never know how much they wanted him. Pa said he would have done such a thing to Jack, not for $1,000,000 if he'd known how that creek would rise when they were in midstream. He would never have let Jack try to swim it, but that can't be helped now, he said. He went far up and down the creek bank, looking for Jack, calling him and whistling for him. It was no use. Jack was gone. At last there was nothing to do but to go on pet and patty over rested Pa's clothes and dried on him. While he searched for Jack, he took the reins again and drove uphill. Out of the river bottoms, Laura looked back. All the way she knew she wouldn't see Jack again. See Jack in a little horse wagon? Look at that. But she didn't see anything but low curves of land coming between the wagon and the creek. And down the creek, those strange cliffs of red earth rose up again. Then other bluffs just like them stood up in front of the wagon. Faint wheels tracks went into crack between these earthen walls. Pet and Patty clung till the crack became a small grassy valley, and the valley widened out to the high prairie once more. No road, not even the faintest trace of wheels or other riders passing could be seen anywhere. That prairie looked as if no human eye had ever seen it before. Only the tall wild grass covered the endless empty land. In a great empty sky arched over it, far away, the sun's edge touched the rim of the earth. The sun was enormous, and it was throbbing and pulsating with light. All around the sky's edge ran a pale pink glow, and above the pink was yellow, and above the blue, the sky was no color at all. Purple shells were gathering over the land, and the wind was mourning. Paul stopped the Mustangs. He and Ma got out of the wagon to make camp, and Mary and Laura climbed down to the ground too. "Oh, Ma," Laura begged, "Jack has gone to heaven, hasn't she? Hasn't he? He was such a good dog. Can't he go to heaven?" Ma did not know what to answer, but Bob said, "Yes, Laura. He can. God that doesn't forget the sparrows won't leave a good dog like Jack out in the cold." Laura felt only a little better. She was not happy. Pa did not whistle about his work as usual, and after a while he said, "What will he do in a wild country without a good watchdog? I don't know." Carrying on. Camp on the high prairie. Pa made a camp as usual. First, he continued. He unhitched Don, Horace, Pat, and Patty, and he put them on their picket lines. Picket lines were long ropes fastened to iron pegs, driven into ground. The pegs were called picket pins. When horses were on the picket lines, they could eat all the grass that the long ropes would let them reach. But when Pat and Patty were put on them, the first thing they did was to lie down and roll back and forth over and over. They rolled till the feeling of the harness was all gone from their backs. While Pat and Patty were rolling Paul, all the grass from large around his base of ground. There was an old dead grass, the roots of the green grass, and Paul wouldn't take no chances of setting the prairie on fire. If fire once started in that dry undergrass, it would sweep the whole country bare and black. Paul said, "But best be on the safe side. It saves trouble in the end." When the space was clear of grass, Paul laid a handful of dry grass in its center. From the creek bottoms he brought an armful of twigs. And deadwood he laid small twigs and large twigs, and then the wood on a handful of a dry grass, and he lighted the grass. The fire cracked, led merrily inside the ring of bare ground. They couldn't get out of it. Then Paul brought water from the creek while Mary and Laura helped Ma get supper. Ma measured coffee beans into the coffee mill, and Mary ground them. Laura filled the coffee pot with the water. Pa brought and Ma set the pot in the coals. She set the iron back over the coals too. While it heated, she mixed cornmeal and salt with water and patted it into the little cakes she greased. The baked oven with a pork laid the cornmeal cakes in it and put it on its iron cover. Then Pa raked more coals over the cover while Ma sliced fat salt pork. She fried the slices in the iron spider. The spider had short legs to stand on in the coals, and that was why it was called a spider. If it had no legs, it would have been only a frying pan. The coffee boiled, the cakes baked, the meat fried, and they all smelled so good that Laura grew hungry and hungry. Pa set the wagon seat near the fire. He and Ma sat on it. Mary and Laura sat on the wagon. Tongue each of them had a tin plate and a steel knife and a steel fork with wide bone handles. Ma had a tin cup, and Pa had a tin cup and baby carried a little one of her own. But Mary and Laura had to share their tin cup. They drank water. They could not drink coffee until they grew up. While they were eating supper, the purple shadows closed around the campfire. The vast prairie was dark and still. Only the wind moved stealthily through the grass, and the large stars hung glitter from the great sky. The campfire was cozy, but big chill darkness. The slice of pork for Christmas. In fact, the corn cakes were good in the dark beyond the wagon. Pat and Patty were eating too. They bit off bites, much like the Little House in the Prairie show on TV. Watching, listening to country music, bringing Nicholas Fox and everybody else. grass and the Griffin and everybody else. I read, well, Camp Hill a day or two, said Pa. Maybe we'll stay there. There's a good land timber in the bottoms, plenty of game, everything a man could want. What do you say, Caroline? We might go farther and far worse, Ma replied. Anyway, I'll look around tomorrow, Pa said. I'll take my gun and get us some good fresh meat. He lighted the pipe with a hot coal and stretched out his legs comfortably. The warm brown smell of tobacco smoke mixed with the warmth of the fire. Mary yawned and slid off the wagon tongue to sit on the grass. Laura yawned too. Ma quickly washed the tin plates, the tin cups, the knives, the forks, and forks. She washed the bake oven, the spout, and rinsed the dishcloth. For an instant she was still listening to the long, wailing howl from the dark prairie. They all knew what it was, but that sound always ran caught up Laura's backbone, crinkled up over the back of her head. Ma shook the dishcloth, and then she walked in the darkness and spread the cloth on the tall grass to dry. When she came back, Pa said, wolves have a mile away. I just, well, there was a deer there. Will be wolves, I wish. He didn't say that he wished, but Laura knew he wished Jack were there. When wolves howled in the big woods, Laura had always known that Jack would not let them hurt her. A lump swelled hard in her throat, and her nose smarted. She winked fast and did not cry. That wolf, or perhaps another wolf, howled again. Bedtime for little girls, Ma said. Cheerfully, Mary got up and turned around so that Ma could unbutton her. But Laura jumped up and stood still. She saw something deep in the dark beyond the firelight. Two green lights were shining near the ground. They were eyes. Cold ran up Laura's backbone, for her scalp crinkled, her hair stood up. The green lights moved. One winked out, then the other winked out. Then both shone steadily, coming nearer. Look, Pa, look. Look, Pa, look, Laura said. A wolf. Pa did not seem to move quickly. But he did in an instant. He took his gun out of the wagon and was ready to fire at those green eyes. The eyes stopped coming. They were still in the dark, looking at him. It can't be a wolf unless it's a mad wolf, Pa said. Ma lifted Mary into the wagon. And it's not that, said Pa. Listen to the horses. Pets and Patty were still biting off bits of grass, and any lynx, said Ma, or a coyote. Pa picked up a stick of wood and he shouted and threw it. The green eyes went close to the ground, as if the animal crouched to spring. Pa held the gun ready. The Creator did not move. Don't, Charles, Ma said. But Pa slowly walked toward those eyes, and slowly along the ground the eyes crawled toward him. Laura could see the animals on the edge of the dark. It was a tawny animal, and Brondo. Then Pa shouted, and Laura screamed. Next thing she knew, she was trying to hug and jumping and panting and wriggling Jack, who lapped her face and hands with his warm, wet tongue. She couldn't hold him. He leaped and wriggled from her to Pa and Ma and back to her again. Well, I'm beat. Pa, so am I, said Ma. But did you have to wake the baby? She rocked, carrying her arms, hushing her. Jack was perfectly well, but soon he lay down close to Laura and sighed alongside. His eyes were red with tiredness, and all the under part of him was caked with mud. Ma gave him a cornmeal cake, and he licked it and waved politely. But he could not eat. He was not too tired. No telling how long he kept swimming, Pa said, nor how far he was carrying downstream before he landed. And then at last he reached him. Laura called him a wolf, and Pa threatened to shoot him. But Jack knew they didn't mean it. Laura asked him, you knew we didn't mean it, didn't you, Jack? Jack wagged his thumb. I would tell he knew. It was past bedtime. Pa chained Pet and Patty to the feed box at the back of the wagon and fed them their corn. Carrie slept again. Ma helped Mary and Laura undress. She put their long nightgowns over their heads while they stuck their arms in the sleeves, they buttoned the neckbands themselves and tied the strings of their nightcaps beneath. there to their chins under the wagon. Jack rarely turned around 3 times and laid asleep. In the wagons, Laura and Mary had said their prayers and crawled into their little bed. Ma kissed them good night on the other side of the canvas. Pet and Patty were eating their corn. When Patty whooshed into the feeding box, the whoosh was right at Laura's heels. There were little scurrying sounds in the grass, in the trees by the creek. An owl called, woo-hoo, woo-hoo, far away. Another owl asked, woo-hoo, far away on the prairie. The wolves howled, and under the wagon Jack roused. Unloading his chest in the wagon, everything safe and snug. Thickly in front of the open wagon top hung the larger glittering stars. Paul could reach them. Laura thought she wished he could pick the largest one from the thread on which it hung from the sky and give it to her. She was wide awake. She was not asleep at all, but suddenly she was very, very much surprised. The large star winked at her. Then she was waking up next morning. Soft and whickering prairie dog was close to Laura's ear, and green rattled in the feed box. Pa was giving Pet and Patty their breakfast. Back, Pet, don't be greedy, he said. You know it's Patty's turn. Pet stamped her foot and nickered down. Patty, keep your own end of the box, said Pa. This is for Pet. Then a little squeal from Patty. Ha, got nipped, didn't you, Pa said, and serve you right. I told you to eat your own corn. Mary and Laura looked at each other and laughed. They could smell bacon and coffee in her pancakes. Hear pancakes sizzling, and they scrambled out of bed. Mary could dress herself all but the middle button, Laura button. That one for her, and then Mary buttoned Laura all the way up the back. They washed their hands and faces in the tin wash bath. On the wagon step, Ma combed every snarl out of their hair, while Pa brought fresh water from the creek. Then they sat on the clean grass and ate pancakes and bacon and molasses from the tin plates in their laps, and all around them the shadows were moving over the waste grasses while the sun rose. Meadow larks were springing straight up from the billows of grass in the high sky. Clear skies seemed as they went. Small, perilous clouds drifted in intense blueness overhead, and all the weed tops, tiny birds were swinging and singing in tiny voices. Paul said they were Dicksills. Dicky, Dicky, Laura called back to them. Dicky bird, eat your breakfast, Laura. Of course, that was the name of the birds out in the wilderness. Mom said, you must mind your manners, even if we are 100 miles from anywhere. Paul said mildly, it's only 40 miles to Independence, Carolina, and no doubt there's a neighbor or so nearer than that. 40 miles, and Mom agreed, but whether or no it isn't good manners to sing at a table or when you're eating, she added, because there was no table. There was only the enormous empty prairie, which grass was blowing in waves of light and shadows across, and the great blue sky above it, and birds flying off from it, and singing with joy because the sun was rising, and on the whole enormous prairie there was no sign that any other human being had ever been there, and all that space of land and sky stood the lonely small covered wagons close to it, sat Pa and Ma. Laura, Mary, and Baby Carrie eating their breakfast. The Mustangs munched their corn. Shag sat still, trying hard not to beg. Laura was not allowed to feed him while she ate, but she saved bits for him. And Mom made a big pancake from the last of the batter. You see them dollar around? Look at that. Carrying on. Meadow larks were spinning straight up from the billows of grass. Paul said, so nearer than that, 40 miles, then Margaret again, whether or no it isn't good manners to sing at table or when you're eating. she added, because there was no table. There only the enormous empty prairie with grasses blowing in waves of light and shadows across it, and the great blue sky above it, and the birds fly up from it, and singing with joy because the sun was rising, and on the whole enormous prairie there was no sign that any other human being had ever been there. In all that space of land and sky stood the lonely small colored wagon, and close to it sat Pa, Ma, Laura, and Mary, and Baby Carrie eating their breakfast. The mustang munched their corn, said Jack, still trying hard not to beg. Laura was not allowed to feed him. Well, she ate, but she saved a bit for him, and a big pancake for him with the last of the batter. Rabbits were everywhere, and the glass and thousands of prairie chickens, but yeah. Eat the breakfast, Lord Miles, and you must mind your manners, even with 100 miles or anywhere. Pa said mildly, it's only 40 miles to Independence, Caroline. No doubt there's never nearer than that. 40 miles, then Ma agreed, but whether or not it is a good manners to sing at table when you're eating, she added, because there was no table. There was only the enormous empty prairie with grass blowing in waves of light and shadows across it, and the great blue sky above it, and birds flying up from it, and singing with joy because the sun was rising on the whole enormous prairie. There was no sign that any other human being had ever been there. In all that space of land and sky stood the lonely small colored wagons, and close to it sat Pa, Ma, Laura, and Mary, and Baby Carrie eating their breakfast amongst these mustangs. Munched their corn. Jack sat still, trying hard not to beg. Laura was not allowed to feed him while she ate, but she saved bits for him, and Ma made a big pancake for him of the last of the batter. Rabbits were everywhere in the grass, and thousands of prairie chickens, but Jack could not hunt. His breakfast that day, Pa was going hunting, and Jack must guard the camp. First, Pa put Pet and Patty on their picket lines. Then he took the wooden tub from the side of the wagon and filled it with water from the creek. Ma was going to do the washing. Then Pa stuck his sharp hatchet in his belt. He hung his powder horn beside the hatchet. He put the patch box and the bullet pouch in his pocket, and he took his gun along. He said to Ma, take your time, Caroline. We won't move the wagon till we want to. You've got all the time. There he is. He went away for that little while. They could see the upper part of him. Above the grasses going away. Christ, Lord. Then he went outside and the prayer was empty. Mary and Laura washed the dishes while Mom made the beds in the wagon. They put the clean dishes in the boxes. They picked up every scattered twig and put it in the pot. Then they stacked the wood against the wagon wheel. Then everything about the camp was tied. Ma brought the wooden panicking of soft stuff from the wagon. She kilted up her skirts and rolled up her sleeves. And she knelt by the tub on the grass. She washed sheets and pillowcases underneath. Under things, she washed dresses and shirts, and she rinsed them in clear water and spread them on the clean grass to dry in the sun. Mary and Laura were exploring. They must not go far from the wagon, but it was fun to run through the tall grass in the sunshine wind. Huge rabbits darted away before them. Birds fluttered up and settled again. Tiny diggy birds were everywhere, and their tiny nests were on the tall weeds and everywhere else, with little brown striped gobbers. These little creatures looked soft and solid. Their bright brown eyes and crinkling noses and wee paws, they popped out their holes in the ground and stood up to look at Mary and Laura. Their hind legs folded up their little paws folded from top to the chest, and they looked exactly like bits of dead wood sticking out of the ground. Only their bright eyes glittered. See them washing clothes by him. Mary and Laura wanted catch one to take. Tomorrow again and again. They almost held the golfer because we stand perfectly still until you were sure you had this time. Then you just touched him and he wasn't there. There was only his round hole in the ground. Laura ran and couldn't catch one. Mary sat perfectly still beside a hole and waiting for one to come up and just beyond her reach. Golfers scampered merrily, and golfers sat up and looked at her, but not every one ever came out of that hole. Once a shadow floated across the grass, and every golfer vanished. A hawk was sailing overhead. It was so close that Laura saw its cruel round eye turn downward to look at her. She saw its smart, sharp beak and its savage claws curled ready to pounce. But the hawk saw nothing but Laura and Mary and ran into holes in the ground. It sailed away looking somewhere else for its dinner. Then all the little golfers came up again. It was nearly noon. Then the sun was almost overhead, so Laura and Mary picked flowers from the weeds, and that they took the flowers to Mom instead of golf. They golf. Mom was folding the dry clothes. The little panties and petticoats were whiter than snow, warm from the sun and smelling like the grass. Ma laid them in the wagon and took the flowers she admired equally. The flowers that Laura gave her and the flowers that Mary gave her. She put them together in a can, cup full of water. She set them on the wagon stuff to make the camp pretty. Then she split 2 cold corn cakes and spread them with molasses. She gave one to Mary and one to Laura. That was their dinner. And it was a very good dinner. Where was the popples? What was the popple? Where is the popples, Ma? Laura asked. Don't speak with your mouth full, Laura said. Ma, so Laura chewed and swallowed, and she said, I want to see a popples mercy on us, Ma said. Whatever makes you want to see Indians, we'll see. I love them more than we want to. I wouldn't wonder, they wouldn't hurt us, wouldn't they? Mary was always good. She never spoke with her mouth full. No, Ma said, don't get such an idea into your head. Why don't you like Indians, Ma? Laura asked, and she caught a drip of molasses with her tongue. I just don't like them, and don't lick your fingers, Laura said, Ma. This is Indian country, isn't it? Laura said, what did we come to the country for? If you don't like them, Ma said. She didn't know whether this was Indian country or not. She didn't know where the Kansas line was. But whether or no the Indians would not be here long, Paul said, wondering from the man in Washington. The Indian territory would be open to settlement. Soon it might already be open to settlement. They could not know because Washington was so far away. Then Ma took the sandering out of the wagon and hid it by the fire. She sprinkled a dress for Mary and a dress for Laura, and a little dress for baby Carrie and her own sprigged crocodile. She spread a blanket and sheet in the wagon, and she ironed the dress as baby Carrie slept in the wagon wall. Mary and Jack laid on the shady grass beside it. Because now the sunshine was hot, Jack's mouth was open, and his red tongue hung out, his eyes blinked sleepily. Ma hummed softly to herself, while the iron smoothed out all the wrinkles out of their little dresses, all around them to the very edge of the world. There was nothing but grasses waving in the wind far overhead. White puffs of clouds sailed in the thin blue air. Laura was very happy. The wind sang a low rustling song in the grass. Grasshoppers rasping quivered up from the immense prairie. A buzzing came faintly from all the trees and creek bottoms, but all these sounds made a great, warm, happy sound. Laura had never seen a place she liked so much as this place. She didn't know what she had gone to sleep until she woke up. Jack was on his feet, wagging his thumb tail. The sun was low and Paul was coming across the prairie. Laura jumped up and ran on his long shadow, stretched to meet her in the waving grass. He held up the game in the hand for her to see. He had a rabbit, the largest rabbit she had ever seen, 2 plump prairie hens. Laura jumped up and down and clapped her hands and squealed. Then she caught hold of his other sleeve and hippity-hopped through the tall grass beside him. This country crammed jammed with game, he told her. I saw 50 deer if I saw one, antelope, squirrels, rabbits, birds, and all kinds. The creek full of fish. He said to Mom, I'll tell you, Caroline, there, everything we want here, we can live like kings. There was a wonderful supper. They sat by the campfire and ate the tender, savory, flavoring meat till they could eat no more. Then, when at last Laura sat down her plate, she sighed with contentment. She didn't want anything more in the world. The last colors fading from the enormous sky, and all the love's land was shadowed. The warmth of fire was pleasant because the night wind was cool. Bumblebee birds called sadly from the woods down by the creek for a little while. A mockingbird sang. Then the stars came out and the birds were still. Softly paused fiddle sang in the starlight. Sometimes he sang a little, and sometimes the fiddle sang alone. Sweet and thin and far away, the fiddle went on singing. None knew thee but to love thee, thou dear one of my heart. The large bright stars hung down from the sky. Lower and lower they came quivering with music. Laura gasped, and Ma came quick. What is it, Laura? She asked Laura what the stars were singing. You been asleep? It is only the fiddle. And it's time the little girls were in bed. She undressed Laura in the firelight and put her nightgown on and tied her nightcap and tucked her in bed. But the fiddle was still singing in the starlight. The night was full of music, and Laura showed the part. It came from the great bright star swinging so low above the prairie. I'm gonna stop there. You kids have a good night's sleep. And remember one thing. God loves you, especially those in Alaska right now where the sun stays up half a year. It's kind of hard to sleep. Especially reading this good book, favorite of mine, Omar Bradley, General. And up next, Fergus Confidential, the real story. Both are held close to heart, especially last week at St. James Catholic Church here in ElizabethTown. Y'all sit down, say your prayers. Oh Lord, may you lay me down to sleep, my soul to keep. May you watch over me night and day. God be with my family, my friends, and those I wake up to and go out and play with. God be with all those around the world. After all, peace is most nation leaders agree is better than the other one. God bless Dolly Parton, Dolly Wood, and everybody else up down in Serbia. Much love from my heart to you. Much love, especially you children that care about being a dad to heart. Being into CNT, NASA, Star Trek, UFC, and everything else. Watching on TV. Especially supporting Sesame Street, the Muppets, Walt Disney movies on weekends. God bless everybody else all over the world that watches my channel. I thank you for my patience. May you watch over those I care about. Watch over my health. Amen. Los cinco de mayo, porque eres to me. Love your friends. Love your family. God bless the brave, land of the free. They do not ask for much, just to pray for the family. Los cinco de mayo, porque eres to me. Love your friends, love your family. Rifles at the ready, standing for what is right. Thinking of those they love back home day and night. Los cinco de mayo, porque eres to me. Love your friends, love your family. They do not ask for much, thinking of those they love. Setting what is an example for what is right. For children all over the world, day and night. Thinking of that family too scared to come outside in the face of ignorance. We're the first to stand for them and fend off ignorance. The Cinco de Mayo, porque eres to me. Love your friends, from my heart to thee. Much love, darlings, all over the world, especially your parents and your children. Remember, mom and dad is not far away. Those who are deployed, they're coming home soon. When you pray real hard at night, think of those you love day and night. That God watch over them as they watch over you. My heart goes out to the daughter or son, especially those children who look upon starry night skies through a window, who want parents one day who find them worthy of them and their friendship, to ease the suffering of all children all over the world who want adoption instead of looking it through a starry window. That is a wish they want to come true, even in the country of India and other parts of the world, Spain, Portugal, Brazil, South America, Canada, Toronto, California, all parts of the U.S. My heart also goes to farmers out there feeding America and the world, keeping the eyes of a child not so suffering, going to bed hungry at night. I always tell people, if you plant a garden, you'll never starve. Who says it has to be outside? There are some people who plant gardens inside, indoors, square away pots. Pots have lids. Lids have little holes. Holes grow, flourish, and live, like rose fluorescent plants, and so on. Also remember Thursdays. Also remember Bar Library for those on post. Check out your local library, bookstores, for those of you all over town. In the world, keep everybody going. Not just watching it on You Got Mail or Star Wars. An amazing movie. Much like Amazing Grace, another favorite church song. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound would save a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Would save a soldier like me. All over the world, to all you soldiers all over the world, different races, different cultures, keeping peace and hope alive. God bless all of you, especially those in Japan, samurai, those in the starting the samurai movie, keeping the history of samurai going, those in Tibet, Mongolia, China, Korea, North Korea. One day that fence will come down. Ronald Reagan and Berlin Wall can't have all the fun. God willing, as God would have it. God bless Jerusalem, Europe, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Rome. Rome will always be Rome. Give me a few yards of silk, I'll have myself a queen and a lifetime of friendship. After all, a bridge of friendship is worth investing in and knowing for life. There are people who would not trade bullions, all the Roman, Russian money, all of Jerusalem, all of the Corvette for my friendship. After all, I've been to millionaires' homes, as I said before. Furniture, cars, and fancy houses is meaningless. What matters is what's from your heart most. Your personality, everything. Much love, not just seen on shows. Carrying on. You sleep, kids. God bless you all. Be kind to others, share as they are to you, especially at school. Your teachers are not there to fail you. They're there to help show you a beacon, a light of hope, a better days of days, a doorway of doorways. Stay in school, stay educated. Much love. It's right here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky.